Hi Joe, it's Mike. I'm responding to your Agnosticism Ain't 50-50 video. It's a good video, and I enjoyed watching it. I think your math is wrong. I think when we're talking about why agnosticism is the rational approach, it's because we just don't have the data. We have no scientific data on this. And I understand that, lack of data, maybe you don't want to allocate resources to something because you have lack of data, in which case atheism and agnosticism are practically the same in how you might behave, but it still is not at the core of the belief. The pure rational mind has to end on agnosticism. And that's my point there. I just think your math is wrong. We have an undefined term. It's not long odds. It's undefined. We just don't know. Moving on, you made some comments about how we now understand that God doesn't make the crops grow, and God doesn't make the sun rise, and etc. And I think you're correct in the technical sense. But my point is that when I talk about God, I'm talking about the ground of being. Now, things exist. I know that things exist because I know I exist. I think, therefore I am. So I've got it rock solid that things exist. Therefore, the ground of being is present. Okay? You can't say that God exists, for to say that God exists is to deny God. God is the ground of being. This is Paul Tillich. You could look it up on Wikipedia. There's a decent article there. But I think he's correct when he says this. So, in a metaphorical sense, the crops growing and the sun rising is made possible by the power of the ground of being. Okay? And I think when we talk metaphorically, that's what we're really talking about. Now, in the past, people may have understood that, almost certainly have understood that to be more literal. But I think today the proper interpretation is to think of that in the way that I just outlined. It's more metaphorical. And metaphor is fine. You see, you used it too. You talked about the sun rising. Now the sun, of course, does not rise. The sun orbits galactic center at whatever it is, reference the Monty Python song. But from where you are on the planet's surface, you witness, or are able to witness, every day the sun rising. And metaphorically, that's fine. In that frame of reference, it's expected for you to refer to things that way. And so metaphor is useful, and speaking outside of metaphor, for the most part, in that case, doesn't make a whole heck of a lot of sense. It's really useless for you to talk about, tangential lines to the Earth's surface and, refraction and whatever else. I mean, it's sunrise. That's what it is. That's how you experience it. And it's fine to refer to it that way. In the same way, it's fine to refer to the experience of the ground of being in those metaphorical ways and to talk about God and those types of concepts. I think it's also important to note that when you talk about how science has constantly pushed back God, made God redundant, I think this ties into what you were saying, where you demanded some scientific experimental proof of God. Now, you've got to understand that when we talk about God, we are talking about the almost unknowable. We're talking about concepts that are at and beyond our ability to understand. So we are talking about speculation and conjecture. We are taking human thought to its absolute limit. So as scientific understanding advances, that limit advances. It's not that God is retreating. It is that where we are looking for God is advancing. And as our understanding of the world and ourselves, the interplay between humans, humanity, and nature, all of that, we look for God farther and farther out in comparison to the understanding of our ancestors. So I think it's important to understand where that is, where our understanding is, in that our understanding is moving. It's not that God is moving. God is the ultimate reality. And the ultimate reality isn't moving. The ultimate reality is the ultimate reality. We're moving toward it. And I think that's the important part. Again, I enjoy engaging with you, and thanks for making your video, and thanks for watching.